Cool, hope everyone enjoyed the film.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Tell us a little bit more about the inspiration behind this film. This is your debut feature film. What were all your roles on this project?
So indeed, this is my debut feature film. I directed, I'm the only producer, I wrote and I acted in it, as you can probably tell. So it's my debut.
Amazing.
First, I mean, to answer your questions, Natasha, and also to thank you, I would like to say two things. You asked me about my inspirations for this film. Well, actually, one of my inspirations was, of course, the south of France and Paris and all those beautiful locations. As you probably saw, it's also the cities that inspired me, including London. Because when I opened my company, Belle Epoque Film, which I opened a bit more than 5 years ago, I had actually moved to London. I was working in TV, I was finishing my studying, and the atmosphere here, filmmakers, not just British cinema, because I love Ken Loach, and I remember Daniel Blake in particular was a very big inspiration even for this film, because of its generous cinema and also its authenticity, but also by the way we make films here, because filmmakers here really think out of the box, and I think when I moved here, it really impressed me in all the means you can imagine, and it really, I think, played a huge role in how I was thinking cinema. So this is definitely one of my inspiration. And we mentioned films, but also another of my very big inspiration is painting and music. And so when I researched to make the Golden Age happen, I remember I watched so many documentaries about the 60s with, of course, the Beatles, who really changed the world. And not only were they an incredible group, an incredible band, but they also made such huge sacrifices. I'm so blessed because, well, actually my very first interview I've ever done for the film I did in London, and there are some journalists here in the room who've interviewed me and been supporting the film since the very beginning. I was still in post-production. And I keep repeating in the interviews, for instance, people ask me, okay, how can an artist bring change? Because some people may feel, you know, they're just artists. Well, the Beatles in Jacksonville in the 60s, when they said, we're not gonna perform in front of a segregated audience in Jacksonville, we're not gonna do it, and I think it's John Lennon who pushed that. Well, they made something really big, not just for the US, but also for the world, because for the first time in Jacksonville, well, it was a normal audience. And it's something really big, because we may think, oh, it's the Beatles, they're so big, but no, at the time, they could easily have been a band that was just here for the summer. And thank you, Natasha, this is why it also circles back to this. Thank you for this festival, and thank you for highlighting on this film. Because it's a film about change in the film, but also behind camera. Because as you can see, I have many roles, and we really need new filmmakers, we need new voices, we need solidarity to really highlight on artists who bring change. I think it's really important.
That is what we're here to do as a festival. It's all about community. So thank you for coming here with your film. I mean, we loved it. I hope all of you guys loved it. So just the next question that I want to know more about is, you produced the film, directed, acted. What challenges did you face? What did that bring with it?
Yes, for sure. There were challenges at each stage. Well, the first challenge was to put the money together, just to make it a little more original, for sure. So, because that's something that's really important. So I really had to think out of the box for a couple of investors, but also really worked a lot, so I could finance it a lot by myself. So that was an interesting part of the process. But to me, this film really needed to happen for many reasons. First, what I thought is that Saint-Tropez is changing, and Tropesians, they do such a great job to keep the authenticity of this village. So I was like, we really need to make this film happen because it's changing. And a little less than a year ago, Notre Dame burnt. So when we filmed there, it was a very moving moment for everyone in the cast and crew, because filming in a place like Notre Dame Cathedral, like any painter who paints in Notre Dame or drew Notre Dame or anyone who've seen Notre Dame, I'm sure pretty much everyone in this room maybe have seen it or heard of it. It's really moving because you can feel there is something special. And now we are the latest drama, the last drama that's ever been filmed at Notre Dame in its usual form. The way you sit in the film, editing had been locked months before, and we talk about it in the film. And it's an important tribute to French patrimoine, and I think it's a beautiful lesson too, to remind that, and even it's a beautiful lesson considering the news today. I'm gonna throw this because it's, and this is why I thank you so much, all of you, for coming, because we need to protect what is precious to us. Time is so precious. I think you can feel in the film there is constant, we remember about time and time flying, and we need to live, and it's so good to feel alive. And I'm sure there are many artists in the room tonight, and I'm sure as artists you've been struggling, just like anyone like me, you struggle. And you people, some people let you down because it's life. It's like, you know, you get cold because you have another gig in London or something happens. So it's about solidarity, it's about support, it's about making time counts. So I think this is why really tonight really counted. So thank you so much again.
Cool. So, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So, what did you learn from this experience for future projects?
I learned so much because this film has changed my life. I put on so many roles, and what felt really incredible, and I think it felt like that for a lot of the team too. It's like there is, I can tell you, there was a lot of love behind this film. We love this film so much. So no matter how much work it's been, no matter how many barriers, it's always felt magical. Like when you film in places where Brigitte Bardot filmed, when you film at Notre Dame Cathedral, when you know on the scene there's gonna be songs from Jimmy Reed, Chuck Berry, when you talk about the Beatles, you can only feel so thankful. And it's like what I'm very thankful for is that this film has taught me so much, because as the challenges come in, you just take them on and you grow with it. You grow, you improve, you adapt, you find ideas, you find solutions. And the film really, because of also the whole idea of the film and the whole artist you want to support, and because of this beautiful tribute you're making, you learn so much, you grow. So I learned I could actually direct and act at the same time. I didn't know I would be able to do that.
Would you do that again?
Absolutely.
But not produce?
Oh, for sure, yes, I would. I think what's really exciting when you have so many roles is that you really realize how much of a universe you put together. And this, of course, involves so many people, and I'm just like so thankful for all the support we've got, especially for the locals, because without them, this film wouldn't be even possible. And there are many people and partners involved, but I would say what's really exciting when you have many roles is that you can interact in many ways. Like, for instance, if you direct and act at the same time, you can either give a direction as a director or not say it and play it in the scene. So that was something really interesting. When you produce, you keep in mind from the very beginning of the process until the end also distribution, sales, because this is a film that's very much for an international audience too. So yeah, I think it's what we call in France an auteur, and it's something really exciting because the film is like your baby, and you're like, the universe you grow is so infinite. So it's something really exciting, and I would definitely do it again when that's possible.
Okay, so do we have any audience questions? John at the front here. This is John here from Film and TV Now.
Hiya.
Welcome, John.
Thank you. Jenna, thank you very much for a really great achievement. I think I have to applaud you for your efforts.
Thank you
Whilst
so
we're on the
much.
screen, it's like got a dreamlike quality. I mean, it's things like La La Land and stuff like that. My two questions are this. Firstly, locations, because in terms of a period drama, obviously, what challenges did you have? Because I know sometimes, these were just things I picked out. So in terms of the challenges of creating a period drama in a contemporary shooting today. And the second thing was there any challenges in terms of the music rights? Because obviously when you talk about independent films, I mean, I've heard some rather extravagant sums to secure the rights out. Firstly, talk a bit about the locations, and then secondly about the complications of getting music and securing the rights to those particular songs.
Thank you so much for your kind words. It really means a lot. In terms of the locations, yes, it was very challenging. First, it was challenging to find them, because there are about 35 exceptional locations in the film. They were all my #1 locations, wishes, and they were. It's incredible because some of the places where we filmed are just unique, like the Saint-Tropez harbor or near the Eiffel Tower. But I really had all I could imagine for my dreams, and I really thank everyone for that, because I think they really understood what we were trying to do, which is something really exciting, I think, for the audience, is to live, for people like me who are too young to have lived it, or relive this era, which is really precious. And so basically, I think they really understood what we were making with the team, so they said yes. And something that was really challenging, though, is that even if we had those locations, some, as you can see, are really big, like they're very large spaces. So it's about also the extras, the cars, of course, like everything that comes into it, like the hair, the makeup. It's a very large space to control and maintain. So that's something that's really exciting. And like I also remember the train, the station where we filmed, like all those places. They were just incredible to film in. Like when you film there, you really think something special. So that was quite challenging, because first securing them. So there are many stories. Like for instance, there was the theater you can see at the end of the film. It's the theater of Saint-Tropez. It's really special. So there were about 150 extras, and also the dancing scene, which involved quite a few dancers. So, but what was really exciting is that it really circles back to what we've just said, which is creating this whole universe. The locations are like characters in the film. Like I think sometimes you can feel they're almost like characters, because when you're there, well, when I'm there, but I think we all felt it. You really feel something so special. You really think it's alive. And about the music, thank you so much for putting it out, because it's a very important part of the film, because you cannot tell Saint-Tropez in the 60s without the music, and all the, of course, the rock stars and all the musicians that went to Saint-Tropez at the time. I actually started to license the music, even like I was just starting to write the film. So it started very early, because I knew how important music would be and those titles would be. So as you know, it takes a lot of time. So I started it as soon as I started writing, and we even recorded the music before filming. So I had licensed with Belle Epoque Film all music rights before we filmed.
Excellent. More questions?
Yeah, various questions.
There's a microphone, so.
Hello.
Hello.
Well done. I loved it. Yeah, it was really
thank
good. The
you.
music with the kind of shots and the contrast.
So yes, it was indeed Los Angeles. All the places you can see in the film, they're all true. Like of course you dress it, etc., but they're all the real places. So thank you so much for asking. And the train is honestly, every location you see, it's like almost impossible to get. Like Saint-Tropez, the train, like filming in this train and in the station, and it's just, so basically it's the locals that helped me find all those things. Like most of the locations you see in the film, they're priceless. How can you put a place on somewhere Brigitte Bardot filmed? And even this train, it's a real train from 1967.
It seems really, yeah, exactly. I was surprised. Does it work with train? No. Or,
It does.
Yeah.
Well, what you can see in the film, it's just, there's no VFX. It's all true. It's all true. So it's, and you know what's really incredible is that when we filmed all this, it never felt impressive, never felt big. It just felt true, because all those places are true. So when even after working on all this, when I was Angèle in the train and I see the train coming to me, I just felt like I was there. how can you not? It's the real trend from then.
How long did it take you to finish, to do the film, to shoot?
So we started with the shoot in Los Angeles. Overall, it took about 2 months, so that's not very long
Very much.
for 35 locations. I hired a security company for commuting everyone, because 35 locations is a lot. So
Wow. Well done.
thank
Yeah,
you so
that's
much.
great.
Thank you.
Are there any crew members in the audience today?
Patty, my mom, Patricia.
Welcome.
I don't know if the singer is here too, because maybe he left. Yeah.
Does anyone want to add anything to what Jenna has already said about logistics and locations and any of those things? Music? No? Okay. Any more questions then? There's a couple. At the front here?
Yeah, thank you. It was lovely to see the film. I was actually
Thank you.
in Nice in the 1960s, so it brought back a lot of memories. And I was curious about the title, because isn't there a Louis Buñuel film called L'Âge d'Or?
Yes.
And I wondered whether that had any
No,
connection or...
it doesn't. It's about the golden age of saint-tropez. It's really interesting you mention it, because I remember when I was writing, I thought about the title May 1967. I thought it would be a good pun with May 1968, but no, like it seemed like everyone loved the golden age L'Âge d'Or so much, because I think it circles back to so much. First, the golden age, the 60s, because when we see the film, like I haven't lived the 60s, I only lived the 60s through the film and the many people who opened their hearts to me, telling me about it. And I just feel, even when watching the movie again, it was such a great time. Like there was no phone, there was no internet. You had to listen to people. You had to listen to music.
Yeah.
You could have a conversation. You
Yes.
could fall in love.
Yes.
This is so exciting.
Yes.
I want to go back there.
You could fall in love without Tinder.
Exactly.
We need to start a Lyft dating agency. We were talking about that earlier. Okay, next questions. Moving on. Just behind you. Okay, we'll go that way first.
All right. So I have kind of two questions. So what kind of films were you watching at the time when you were making this? And because I felt at times that, I got this vibe, Woody Allen, Midnight in Paris thing, and Richard Linklater, like the Before Sunrise trilogy.
This
So I
is a
wanted-
really
yeah.
good guess. Yeah, they're part of my favorite filmmakers. Midnight in Paris, for sure. I actually watched it not long before filming, because Woody Allen is obviously in love with France. And I absolutely adore Richard Linklater's work. I think his work with actors, like making things feel authentic. This is what I also love about Ken Loach's work. But when you see his films, it's not a documentary. It looks like a film, fiction, but it feels so true. So, and it's really interesting that you mentioned this, because it's true. When I wrote and prepared for the film, I did watch a lot of films, and I watched a lot of documentary. I remember watching a lot of documentaries, with the Stones and the Beatles, and when we were rehearsing, I would still listen to them, and documentaries are a good way to research on top of interviewing people from then. And also, again, there's something that really inspires me, it's the music. So actually, I get inspired from films because they are really good references. To be really creative, I think it's really useful to inspire yourself from paintings or music, because it's another art form. So I think it really helps being very creative. So I would say, yes, I definitely watched a lot of films, but I also listened to a lot of music and even looked at a lot of paintings. Because the light you can see in the film, in Saint-Tropez, it's so special. And you can understand why so many impressionists would go to Saint-Tropez to paint.
And that leads me kind of what you said there with the light to the second part of it, or it's a different question. How did you work with the cinematographer and plan for, because I also noticed it really goes in this rhythm. Like it's a lot of these 3 shots that kind of goes through the story with the wide, and it cuts to the close-ups, and you kind of get into this thing. And yeah, how did you work with your cinematographer?
Thank you so much for asking, because that was a really important point. The cinematographer is American, and I had built a very big shot list to be sure that we had the shot I wanted, and it was something that was a really important conversation, because something that's really special, especially in Saint-Tropez, but even in Paris, is the light. And so the light in general in the south of France is beautiful. In Saint-Tropez, there is something in the air, there's just something in the light, for those of you who have gone and who will go. It's so moving, it's so special. You can understand why Mick Jagger got married in Saint-Tropez in the 60s at the River film, because it's like, there is something in the air when you see this light, it's so special. And so it was a lot of work with the cinematography, with my GP, but also with the color grader, because it's all about capturing that light. So working a lot with natural lights, but also, of course, you need to work the lights, and then revealing it in the post-production process. And the post-production, the color grader is actually based in London, and we really had a great time color grading it, but it was a very subtle work, because when we captured it with my GP during filming, we needed to do it in a certain way, so then we can reveal it, but the way you see it in the film is really true, which means that if you go there, it really looks like that. It's not color graded, like we didn't change the color. It really looks like that. So it was a lot of organization with shots, but then it was a lot of making sure the cinematography was true and right for Saint-Tropez and all those locations.
Yeah, it looks like a dreamy place. I've never been, but how you captured it, it feels
Thank
magical.
you so much. And it's true, again, when you go there, it really feels like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. And if you're interested in grading, we have a grading masterclass tomorrow at 4:15 p.m. here at Genesis Cinema. So come if you want to see that, if that's what you're interested in. And final question was here. Yes, I think. Cool.
What's next, and what are your favourite 3 Beatles tracks?
Oh, that's so
Good
hard.
question.
Okay, do you want to start with what's next or the Beatles tracks? Okay, so I'm very thankful I've been cast in 2 feature films. They're actually both British feature films. Also, I'm in discussion to direct and online produce a few more projects. I'm excited to work also in film distribution, because actually I have a distribution background working at Gaumont and SND, so I'm excited working with also festivals. Because I work for Cannes series, I'm looking forward to working with more really great quality festivals and also distribution. And at the same time, I'm also writing my upcoming peer drama, which is called For the Love of Music. And about the Beatles, it's so hard to choose. It's so hard. Those I was listening to when I was rehearsing, and they became my favorite tracks because they're linked to a lot of very good memories. It was I Want You to Hold Your Hand. I love Me Do, because I know it's their first big tune, but everything I just still now I can't stop listening to it. It's crazy. And the third one was it's not really the Beatles, but because of how connected it is to Change in the film Imagine, because the Beatles say it all.
Cool. Well, thank you to Jenna for all of this. It's amazing. Also, the bar is still open, so anyone who wants to ask any more questions will be up there, and come and have a drink with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.